Maji machafu tusinywe tena, misitu tusiende tena. Permaculture imeleta njia fupi kwa kurahisisha maisha, kama vile kutengeneza makala na mengi tumeyajua. Permaculture imetufundisha tukipanda mboga tusiweke kemikali, afya zetu ziwe sawa, mboga tusiweke dawa, mazingira yawe sawa salama. Angalia watoto wa tamtam wanatumia mboga tamtam, pia maji masafi tamtam, afya zao ni nzuri tamtam. Thank you Permaculture kuleta mambo mapya hapa kwetu Chaka, tunawashukuru. We say thank you Permaculture, we say thank you. God bless you Permaculture, we love you. You've made our life so easy. Now we're doing pure wood. We use no comedy charcoal. Vegetables our food.
Millions of lives are endangered because of the waste that we produce every day. Hundreds of children are dying of cholera brought by these wastes. But we get a clean environment, care for our nature by reusing and recycling all the waste into new materials. We clean our towns, villages and homes, and we make life cooler every day because of permaculture. Permaculture is the hope of the humanity. It's the way that leads us to a better future.
Permaculture makara yawe turayashima, na muntu kijya mu ishyamba gushaka inkwi, wadufashije kugabanya ihungabana ry'ikirere, turacana iwacu twatandukanye n'imyotsi. Urubyiruko narwo reka tugushime, twahuguwe byinshi Chaka turashima, waduhaye aho twidagadurira, tubona ibyo gukora nidufite umwanya wo guta.
We say thank you Permaculture, we say thank you. God bless you Permaculture, we love you.
You've made our life so easy. Now we're doing pure wood. We use no comedy charcoal. Vegetables our food.
We send our sincere thanks to the Permaculture Education Institute, Permayouth, Morag Gamble, teacher Bemeriki, who teaches permaculture in East Africa refugee camps.
Roland Asima.
We say thank you Permaculture, we say thank you. God bless you Permaculture, we love you.
You've made our life so easy. Now we're doing pure wood. We use no comedy charcoal. Vegetables our food.
I'm called Bemeriki Bisimwa Dusabe. I'm a refugee from Democratic Republic of Congo in North Kivu province, where there is a war since 1989 up to today. As we are speaking now, people are dying and there is mass killing. I've been here in Uganda since 2006. Now I've made 16 years as a refugee. If I can add on years that I've been in a IDP or internal displaced camp, I have just made almost 27 years as a refugee. I've been almost 14 years in my own country, in IDP camp, and 16 years here in Uganda as a refugee. So I'm in Rwamamja Refugee Settlement, which we can call the newest, but I've been here 16. My first refugee settlement was Chankwari, and I came here in Rwamanja when I was working as a peace building and a conflict resolution ambassador, speaking on behalf of refugees who were coming and also were engaged in solving conflicts among refugees. And at that time I was seen to be an expert as a youth, and that's why they brought me here. So I'm the founder and director of Rwamwanja Rural Foundation Limited, a non-profit refugee-led organization that focuses on improving lifestyles of refugees through nutrition, climate change, and income-generating activity to refugees, women, and youth, and also host community. Because due to the principles and ethics of permaculture, we believe that we are all struggling to meet the same needs. Because if we sleep hungry as refugees, and if a nation also sleeps hungry, we feel the same. And if there is a prolonged droughts, if it affects refugees, it does not affect only refugees, it affects all of us. So I'm a permaculture teacher and a Permayouth mentor in East African permaculture. When I talk about the word perma, that is permanent. Then when you go to culture, that's the permanent culture, permanent agriculture. And that's how people understand if we take them back to their ancestors, their farm activity that have been done, their culture based on their grandfather. So that's what we talk about as a permaculture. Permanent. Then culture, that's the permanent culture, permanent agriculture. It is composed of, it has a heart of three ethics. One is people care. The second one is fair share. The third one is earth care or planet care. Why do we think about this? In most forms, many people or leaders, politicians, does not use permaculture, but they use permaculture in another way which favors their ways of political arena. One, this permaculture ethics is one of, initially it was Millennium Development Goal, which was MDGs. It aims at empowering people. It had zero hunger. It had everything. Then when the world moved on, they changed it into SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, where now it has almost 17. Then for us in permaculture, you have only 3 ethics, and also you have 12 principles. So if I can talk about this ethics in short, when with young people or when I teach beneficiaries, when we talk about ethic care, I consider the earth or the planet as my grandfather. Because for us, you have a saying, if you abuse your grandfather or grandmother, he or she have right to curse you, and the curse is active. For us, that's our culture, and we believe it. So, if we does not take care of our environment, it will also not take care of us, because we need to feed the planet or environment. We need to clothe it. We also need to give it time for rest. Like a land, if you overdig the land, of course they get tired. Then we call it that the soil is bad. If we cut trees, we are now unclothing our planet. Of course, what comes out is prolonged drought. Then it comes out is just global warming. We have a disease that comes up, which was not at present, but as of now it is here. Then we will have flash floods, which is a result of the trees that is being cut. Also, when we don't protect our environment, we are having more cases of hunger worldwide, and also cases of prolonged drought and the diseases that are occurring day to day. So that's about the planet care. Then we also have a fair share. When I talk about fair share, I can just give example like Europe, America, Asia, and other parts of the world. Most of them, they use 50% of their budget, annual budget, then the rest, they just throw it away because it is useless, forgetting that there are other people in the world that are in need of the residue, even without even thinking of the balance that the household have left out. People are just in need of just the residue, the remains that you left on the table. So when we talk about that, we teach people to take what they can and also leave the rest to others. And with that, we said that by the time we deny access to people, to the service, to meet their need, it brings a conflict. And that's why we have conflicts in Africa or worldwide, because people are greedy. They want to, they like for themselves. They want to have what they want, but they don't want other people to have. Then people care. Of course, we take like example, if your neighbor, or if your neighbor's houses get burned, what do? If you just make an alarm, if you risk your friends, that's it. People care. You care, take care of your friends as you take care of yourselves. Then you have the principles that goes up. It is 1 up to 12. So that's all about permaculture. Permaculture is not only about digging or farming. It inclusive our daily life. So it is when we define permaculture, it was just defined by Bill Morrison and David Holmgren, who are the pioneers of permaculture since 1970. For them, they define the permaculture in different way, as people in Hungary, UK also, and the other part of the world, they define permaculture differently, based on the location where you are and what needs are you addressing using permaculture. Because as you hear that permaculture ethics are the core of these MDGs, so it involves gender inequalities, zero hunger, employment for all, peace, also inclusive partnership, job creation, environmental protection. So that is why for us, we don't want to use MDGs because it is for politicians. For us, we are using permaculture. We go back to our former culture, our permanent culture, a permanent agriculture. We don't promote usage of chemical, we only promote usage of organic matters. Either liquid, for the leaves, we use liquid manure that we make locally. Then the soil also make compost. That is the principle 6, produce no waste. Or whatever we consider as waste, for us it is useful. We use it. If we talk about like that principle of producing waste, so when a tree just germinates, the leaves fall down. When it falls down, it decomposes. When it decomposes, they are living things that comes in what we call just worms. Worms just survive because of that leaves that fall down. Thereafter, the worms also die. It feeds back again the soil. So see, there is no waste in nature. Thank you. Hope you have got more questions to ask. We teach people how to use more land that they have to get maximum food that the household needs. This comes as one alternative to empower refugees. As in COVID came in, more people, most of donors had no way to donate, and I know most of the companies, employers shut down their activity, and also countries that would donate food from America or other parts of the world, the food couldn't reach Uganda because the port was in Nairobi, and the most cases of COVID at first was at a higher level in Nairobi. So food was just slashed into two. We were to get just 10 kilograms of maize corn and also 2 kilograms of beans. That's the food that we were getting. So with this alternative of using permaculture, we empower the people to get their own food without depending on food donation. And before even that comes in, I have been teaching permaculture before, and I've been even a farmer. I've been farming before even I knew that permaculture existed. I've been just growing vegetables, teaching people how to grow vegetable in a sack, how to grow a vegetable at their veranda, but I never knew that there was something like permaculture. So when I came across a permaculture, it was just like to awake somebody who is just who was awake, and that's how I came into a permaculture practice. So we empowered so far many people, like in this past year, 2 years, assume just only this 2021, I have trained 896 households across East Africa in permaculture. So most of them are now enjoying food that they get on their own household without depending. And we are now looking towards to how best we can empower more people through permaculture. And without going even beyond, we have came up with another alternative of collecting waste. We grow in mushroom, which is part of, it is a source of nutritious and also a part of generating income to improve the livelihood of household. Then we are also collecting waste. Then we carbonize it in form of biochar. Then we make in briquette charcoal. That's one way of protecting the environment, because the person who have been cutting trees and also using firewood will have stopped to use that and use the briquette charcoal that is made from waste. Then in that form, trees are no longer being cut and the environment is now protected. So that's the work we do. We also teach women in income generating activity through tailoring, hairdressing, and also we group them in this, which is group village saving and association, where they save the money that they have got from vegetable, mushroom, and then an activity that we empowered them in. Then after saving, they get a loan, they go back and make business, then bring interest as life goes on. So that's the work I do. If I can elaborate, it is a long story. It can take us more than even 2 hours. In one way of peace building and conflict resolution. As a person of concern or refugee who have been in a conflict for years and years, we understand that there are so many conflicts, and as we are here in refugee settlement, we have different culture, we have different background, and also different psychological torture. So with that regards, we use the permaculture as one way to build peace and people reconciliate through permaculture. So before you ask, I can just elaborate in short how it does. We group people in groups. We make a nursery beds of vegetable. Then we make keyhole garden to every household in groups. So when the vegetable have grown up, they reach a stage of transplant. We go on the page, we transplant. That's the activity that is being done by a group member. So in that form, after training, we also have to share meals. We also have to share dance, and we also share history. Our stories is being shared through group. So that's how people come to a level of understanding one another, and the people reconcile in that way. So I found this as useful too, compared to the way I've been using just the issue of mediation. We sit with a person, where there is a conflict that is arose, people are at us, then we go, we call the people, we ask, then we teach. So that ways of teaching is quite different from permaculture that I'm using. Because with permaculture, it's one that attaches to our stomach and our daily needs. So once there is like a vegetable, of course you will not fail to go and pick seedlings because you don't talk to a person. And the more you have seated together for a day, You need to, of course, collaborate. And I also use a learning culture where people understand different culture. When the first time we meet, you elaborate about your culture. I personally understand, I remember that happened because we didn't respect those people's culture. So that's how we are using permaculture to build peace and reconciliation.